Today, we're going to look at how B2B marketers are using Google's shopping platform. This has been the best new customer acquisition channel in the last 2 to 3 years, definitely the fastest growing one for most B2B advertisers. And today, we're going to look at the most critical step in this process, which is actually choosing the right products that you're going to put into Google Shopping. Now, this is a step that's very often overlooked by B2B advertisers. So I'm going to walk you through 7 key decision points that you need to make before you actually start your very first campaign. Now, Google Shopping is a very, very complex platform, and these 7 decision points are just the first step of getting your right products in there. After that, you have all sorts of complexity from optimizing the product listings to the bidding strategies and bid adjustments on audiences that you're targeting. Google Shopping is important to remember that it's a indeducibly complex system, which means you can't just take one part away from it or one part away from your strategy to make it a more simple process and expect to get the same return on investment. So this first step that we're going to take you through, again, all focused on finding the right product to channel fit. So determining what products you're going to put inside of your Google Shopping campaign. And since it is PitCon time, I'm in Chicago at a conference that's starting next week about the lab equipment marketplace, and that is what all my examples are going to be today. So let's get started figuring out what products of yours are going to have the best channel to market fit. So the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to make sure that you're not bidding on products that have a consumer focus, so that accidentally overlap with a very popular consumer product search term, because that's definitely one of the most common mistakes people make and one of the most surefire ways for your campaign to fail. So let me start with a couple examples. So for example, you'll sell vacuum pumps in the lab market. Now, if you're a chemist or involved in the scientific industry, you know the vacuum pump that you're referring to is a small one that goes on top of a lab bench and creates vacuums inside of glassware, helps with aspiration or filtration in certain lab instruments. However, if you are most people searching on Google, then you'd realize that most people are not in the lab market that are searching for a vacuum pump. So HVAC is the most common B2B application for the term vacuum pump. So it's a very, very hard term to bid on because the user, again, when they are typing in vacuum pump into the search engine, they expect that they're going to find a bunch of lab ones. Meanwhile, your ad is also going to trigger for everyone searching for all of those HVAC applications and everything else. Now let's take a look at another example, because it's not always the case. End users often have modifiers that they can prepend on the search term to make sure that they're finding the right one in Google. So for example, if I work in a lab and again, I need water going into my instrument, I need 18.2 ultra pure lab water going in it, I'm not just going to go to Google and type in water purification system, right? I know as an end user that I'm going to see a bunch of products that are related to the Culligan water systems, right? I'm going to see home water purification systems or other industrial ones that are just meant outside of the lab space. So in that case, you're actually safe putting in the water purification systems because the end user is most likely going to prepend it automatically with something like lab or 18.2 mega ohm or ultra water purification system. So some words that are going to tell Google really what their search intent is, and you don't have to worry as much about your ads showing up for a B2B search term that's not in the vertical niche that you're targeting. So that's the first one. Look at your product lines and look at it on a category by category basis and see which of these products would overlap with a search phrase that's more popular than the niche, the market that I'm selling my products into. And unfortunately, those are products you have to remove from your Google Shopping marketing efforts, so from that channel. Number two, take a look at product lines. This is kind of the inverse of what we were just talking about. Take a look at product lines that actually have a broad reach. So I'll give you a few examples. Overall, though, these are products that are used in other industries outside of your niche, but it's still the exact same model that you sell. So for example, again, back to the lab market, because I'm going to PitCon next week, I'll use lots of examples from that industry. A distributor who sells cryogenic freezers and vessels. So they sell them into the scientific market for sample preservation, but there's a very large portion of buyers outside that scientific industry that buy the exact same brand of cryogenic freezers who are not related to the scientific industry at all. And guess what one of their uses is? They ship biological samples from their horses to other horse breeders across the world. So you have a bunch of farmers and horse breeders buying cryogenic sample storage tools, dewars, shipping flasks, and that is a market that now, since you have these products in your catalog anyways as a B2B distribution company, you're going to have them up on Google Shopping. You will get sales from these tertiary markets outside of your primary one. Another example would be we have homogenizers. So this is a piece of lab equipment, again, sticking to my examples, that sits on a lab bench. And what's a trending tertiary industry right now is vaping, right? I don't get it, but lots of people do. And it's the vape juice is flavored. And so lots of people are searching on Google who are small production facilities that are making this vape juice. I'm sorry, I don't know the correct term for it, to go into the vape, and they're homogenizing vegetable glycerin is actually what they're doing, because that's the base in lots of the juice that goes into the vape. So that is a very non-traditional tertiary use or application of that product, but this is a different type of customer that you would have never been marketing to in the past with your B2B efforts. But now that you're on this channel that has more consumers on it, or more small businesses or hobbyists, they are going to be purchasing your products for these other applications as well. But you don't have to worry, because it's still the exact same product. So these are ones you should actually pay more attention to, because you have more opportunity for sales in the shopping channel on them. Okay, number three is expanding upon the previous example. So now that you are selling your standard product into these tertiary applications outside of your normal B2B industry that you're targeting, why not take that product and customize it by bundling in other items for that specific application? So let's say you sell ultrasonic cleaners traditionally into the lab space, but now that they're up on Google Shopping, you're getting orders from the Chicago Police Department. Why are they buying them? They're buying them, so you make some calls, you talk to the end user, or you do a quick Google search, and you find that they're buying them because they are cleaning their guns, their handguns, inside of the ultrasonic cleaner, and that keeps them at peak performance. Great, we're getting closer to what the end user is really using them for. Let's take it one step further. What type of handgun are they actually cleaning? So the Chicago Police Department is using Glock Gen 9s. So let's put together a new SKU, and one of the common theme in this strategy and these decision points on picking the products that you want to put into Google Shopping is about adding new SKUs so that you can target specific people or geographies or applications. So don't worry if you already have 10,000 SKUs in your catalog. The best way to personalize the products to the user's search is actually to customize it and to make a new SKU. So in this example, I'd make a new SKU called Glock Gen 9 Ultrasonic Cleaning System for law enforcement. And I bundle together like the rack that goes in the ultrasonic cleaner and the lid and maybe even a jug of solvent solution, cleaning solution that's used on metal. And now you have a unique SKU. Now the big advantage of doing this, and this is a little bit of a secret that not many people are utilizing, is that now because you're creating a unique SKU and a unique product name, you don't have competition anymore, right? You're not competing with Grangers and Harbor Freights and Overstock.com and all these other companies that want to push that SKU out there. So that extra effort into creating the unique product is definitely worth it. So number 4, we are going to talk about equivalent products that are compatible. So if you sell a challenger brand product, so a lesser known model, brand name of a consumable, for example, works really well. Let's take an example from your office that you're working in right now. You probably have a few laser printers that have toner, and do you buy HP brand toner every time it runs out? Or are you saving a boatload of money and buying aftermarket toner? So this is an incredibly good product to put in Google Shopping campaign if you name it correctly. So by naming it as the OEM, the manufacturer's name, and then appending it with replacement, now when people are going to Google and they're typing in HP TN350 or whatever the Hewlett-Packard model number is for their official toner, then your replacement one is going to show up. And because there's not a whole lot of product information shown in that Google Shopping result, people are just going to see the price and the name, and they're not, there's this huge price delta between the HP one and yours. So your product is going to be positioned very, very favorably in this case. So that is number 4. Let's take a look at number 5, which is kitting together products based on a specific persona that you're targeting. So again, this comes down to after you've had your shopping campaign running for a little bit, looking at where the sales are going to. Maybe you noticed every August or September, school's going back and you have a big spike in certain types of glassware and plasticware from your lab equipment distributor. So you look at that and go, oh, they're shipping to high schools. Let's put together a grade 10 chemistry glassware kit that now includes lots of the sizes and types of glassware that they were buying. And again, now this gives you a unique SKU and it's a bundled product. So it's going to look very good in the search results when that grade 10 teacher searches on Google for the glassware that they're looking for, speaking right to the purchaser. Number 6, this gets a little bit more complex, but you have to remember where Google Shopping came from. It's not new. We've been using it successfully in B2B for 3-4 years, but it goes back way before that. It was called Frugal, F-R-O-O-G-L-E, I believe, about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and that's when I started working with the platform. So what do you think frugal was a play on words for? Frugal, my dad's favorite word, never likes to be called cheap. He's just frugal. And that is obviously a price comparison engine. That's how it got the name. So you have to remember what we're working with right now. Google Shopping used to be a price comparison engine by Google, and it still has lots of those native behaviors of helping the customer find the lowest price for a specific SKU. So what does that mean for the products that you're choosing to put inside of your Google Merchant Center, which is then in turn feeding your Google Shopping campaign and what you're running ads on? Obviously, you want to make sure that you have a very competitive price for every SKU that you're putting in there. Now, there's 3 different ways primarily about going about monitoring the competitor's pricing of a product. So you could just do it one by one if you want to do it on a small scale, or if you just want to spot check some of your products across the line, and just obviously search that SKU in Google Shopping, see what people are selling it for. That's not manageable for most of us, so there are different SaaS, software as a service providers, that have came out and addressed this need in the market, where you can subscribe for, it's costly though, right? A few $100s a month to get access to like monitoring of all of your competitors' prices for the products that you're putting in there. Now, I'd really suggest, since in Google Shopping, again, it comes back to a price comparison engine, there's not a lot of room to showcase your USPs, unique sales propositions, of why people want to buy that product from you. So don't blame the user for buying purely on price, because that's all they're seeing, right? So SaaS applications to monitor it is one solution. The other solution is there are managed companies out there that specialize in competitor price monitoring and minimum advertised price monitoring. If you're a manufacturer, now you're going from a couple $100s a month to a couple $1,000s a month, much more investment required. There's also a third option, which I personally use, and it's a tool called Odoo, which is a business management software, and there's some code that we have that we've added on to Odoo to actually scrape competitors' pricing for SKUs, and then you can view it in the back of the product information management tool, which also you can link to your Google Merchant Center. So that's a really neat option as well. To go with that option, you probably need to have access to a web developer, whether you're contracting out to someone or you have someone in-house that can help set it up for you. But then the nice part is there's no monthly fee to maintain that. So that's number 6. Make sure your price is very competitive. Now, you can take all these strategies that we talked about and you can actually layer it with geography targeting. So in your ad campaign, you can target certain SKUs to certain geographies. So if you're doing that, find out what's unique about your product in that geography. What unique characteristics does it have? Maybe you sell lab freezers or incubators that are this big and weigh a ton, and you are in California. You know you're not going to be as competitive for that product shipping it to New York as someone in New Jersey, right? So it's maybe not a battle that you want to enter. But if you know that and you want to target your incubator or freezer offering just to the geographical area which you have them warehoused, then you might as well put in the title, ships from San Antonio, ships from your local geography that you're targeting. You could put next day delivery. And of course, your shipping costs are going to be lower, so it's going to make you more competitive for that product. So also think about if your products have any special shipping requirements and how you could make that your advantage if it's a local geography, and how you could just kind of not compete in the larger geography if it's a hindrance for you. So in summary, what you need to think about Google Shopping as a channel is a lot like if you have any friends that sell on Amazon. The way they approach it is they look at trends on Amazon, like what products Amazon isn't really strong in, and then they actually go source those products from China in most cases to fill the need in the market. And they won't go and buy products if they know they can't do it at a price that's more competitive than what's already on Amazon. So even though you already have all these SKUs available to you, before you put them into Google Shopping, think a lot more selectively about what products you're choosing to put into the Google Shopping sales channel. If you have any questions on this, I would love to hear it in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel to get more information like this for B2B marketers specifically. And if you have any questions, you can email me, john@johnbuie.com. That's B-U-I-E is my last name. Or find me on LinkedIn. and connect with me there. Once again, it's John Buie, B-U-I-E, and I'd love to chat about this further. Something I'm really passionate about and never miss an opportunity to connect with another B2B marketer about. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.